Hello and welcome to Out of the Box on the Games Done Quick Hotfix. My name is ateatree, and around here we believe that if you can watch it, you can run it. We've got a wide variety of exciting runs here for you tonight, starting off with a little mini block of some shmups and moving into games of different genres. But I would say the kind of connective tissue of tonight's runs is the different kind of rhythms and pacing of speedrunning. So you'll get to see some more deliberate runs, some runs with really tight cycles, and our first run is kind of an example of all of the above. This is going to be, you can call him Zelo, you can call him Zello, but don't call him anything other than an absolute master at shmups, including but not limited to Ikaruga. This is going to be a 1 credit clear attempt of the normal difficulty. So Zello, how are you doing?
Hi, Tree. I'm good. Hi, everyone. I'm Zello, however you want to say it. Never matters to me. This is Ikaruga. This is a wonderful shmup by Treasure back in 2001. It was originally an arcade game on the Naomi hardware, and then it got ported to Dreamcast and several other systems over the years. I'm actually playing on the US GameCube version, which was actually the first time we got to experience this in the US. It's a pretty fantastic game, but we'll get into that in a bit. But I also have one very important commentator. GK, if you could introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ghost Kumo, and I'm going to be joining Zello on the call here because this is a 1cc attempt, the 1 credit clear, the attempt to beat this game without using any continues. If he does end up having to use a continue, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But you know, we'll play along and just show you some high school gameplay as best as we can. And obviously for how difficult that can be, I am going to be doing a fair bit of the talking just so that Zello can focus.
Yep, so we'll go into the options menu real quick. So you can see we're on type 2, 3 extra lives. This is default. I'll just restore defaults just to confirm that. So this is primarily a 1 credit clear attempt, but I will be going for points as well because I get extra lives first at 3 million points and then every 5 million after. So this will be kind of a score run as well. So we're going to go ahead and click start game here. We're going to be playing on normal difficulty. GK can talk about the difficulty differences a little bit as we go. But time's going to go when I click on normal game right here in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Okay, Ikaruga. So this is a bullet hell. Is kind of the nickname for this subgenre of shoot 'em up. That means that there are going to be a lot of bullets in this game. This game being probably, like, alongside Toho, the most famous of bullet hells in the West. This game kind of had developed a bit of a cult following its release on the GameCube, and I think even the Dreamcast? I might be misremembering my timeline, but the GameCube is definitely where it made its mark, and then later ported to things like Xbox and even PC. So yes, you can buy this game on Steam. You don't have to play it on the GameCube. But anyways, the key signature mechanic and the thing that Ikaruga is so synonymous for, it's practically the archetype name of this style of gameplay, is polarity swapping. So everything you see in this game will be firing either red or white, alternatively black or blue. So I sometimes use them interchangeably. I might say red for black.
Yeah, well, we're having the dress argument about our bullet colors. Got it.
Yes. But everything fires at you with one of those 2 colors, and your polarity allows you to absorb them. A key thing, actually, is that every enemy has a color, and when you destroy it, on the normal difficulty, if it is of the same color as you, it fires retaliatory fire. On the hard difficulty, enemies fire retaliatory fire regardless. That's one of the big differences. Normal is kind of the standard for 1cc attempts, but you can do any of the 3.
So it seems in a lot of cases here that Zello is actually purposefully attacking enemies of the same color, which, as you mentioned, fires those retaliation bullets. Why is that?
Yep. Well, so there's kind of 2 ideas to it. Number 1, you want to destroy enemies in groups of 3 of the same color of the enemy, and that's so that you can maintain max chain, which you see on the top left. You get a lot of bonus points for that, and that racks up score, which, as mentioned, he wants to get score so that you can get as many lives as possible. But targeting an enemy of the same or of the opposite color actually does double damage. So.
Okay, and so there's a balance between maintaining chain and defeating enemies quickly.
Kind of, you want to go for both as much as you can, but in any case, but like, yeah, so you can absorb bullets of the whatever polarity you are, but if you get hit by any of them, you die instantly, as is standard for shmups. So a lot of this game becomes about memorizing enemies. This first boss here is a little bit simple. The dodge patterns aren't too bad. And yeah, just kind of sweep right through them.
It's funny, you mentioned pattern matching. I have heard it said, and not that it's the primary argument, but I've heard it said that with the patterns being as relatively strict as they are across this game, that it's almost kind of more of a rhythm game of memorizing the patterns and then being in the right place to switch to the color you want at a time, especially in some of the later levels where your tolerances for like playing by reaction are relatively small.
Yes. So Ikaruga's polarity situation allows you to get away with things that not a lot of shmups, like, since you can't get hit by anything, you kind of have to like just maneuver in very small increments of movement. This game is a little bit different because you can absorb bullets, but there is like a rhythm to learning, you know, when a thing comes on the screen. The final boss in particular has like one attack that's very much like that. That very much turns this into almost like a rhythm game.
This next section is always a little scary, and I've been messing up, so I'm going to hopefully lock in, but it really shows the risk-reward for getting score in this game. So right after I clear out this wave right here.
As chat mentions, it's sometimes it's less, once you get to a certain level of skill and familiarity, it's less about seeing the bullets and more about seeing the safe spaces and where you can move relative to them.
Yeah, this game, you kind of, when you get started in these games, you really kind of come to understand your own peripheral vision. This area is kind of you'll see a lot of areas in this game are quite claustrophobic. You have to navigate through rather condensed spaces. Two things to mention. Number one, although there is the big aura around you and your ship has like a model, your actual hitbox for being hit by opposite color fire is quite small. So you can kind of graze around things. That's pretty standard in most shmups, but it is true here. And here, I haven't really touched on this, but the key thing you actually want to intentionally absorb bullets for is that it charges up this meter on the bottom left, and that indicates your ability to fire missiles. I might say lasers. I mean the same thing. Basically, laser missiles. Which that sounds awesome. But those kind of will generally try to lock in onto enemies closest to you. So it's a good way to just clear out a lot of enemies at once.
Yeah, so especially in the cases where you have those like prolonged fire from enemies, that's a great chance to get multiple special fires in a row.
Yeah, so Zello kind of has it roughly more or less routed out where's best to release them and where best to hold on to it. You can shoot. Basically, the more full the meter is, the more spread your missiles are.
Yeah, you can get up to 12 with a fully charged meter. I'm also intentionally not going for chains here because it's difficult to manage for me. So that's kind of the balance with doing this 1cc attempt.
Yeah, there's some parts where it's just, you'll get as many points as you reasonably can, but priority for like a marathon purpose here is just to live.
Yeah, it might mean you end up with one less credit earned across the course of the game, but if you don't lose the lives trying to earn those credits, then you're still net positive.
Well, something
also get bonus waves here.
Something to also mention, it's kind of important. Enemies with lasers do actually push you back, and that's going to become more and more relevant with bosses coming up later. But yeah, Zilla just takes that last portion at the end there, much safer. So the gimmick of this boss is you're supposed to shoot out these shields and then kind of get into the tight space behind it. And you're really seeing him graze the opposite color bullets, which he knows aren't going to hit his actual hitbox, which is again smaller than the model of his ship.
Take this very safe. I need a little bit more firepower. This is fine. But yeah, I took that very safe. You can kill that during the bullet spawner cycle, but like I said, keeping the balance between just making sure I stay alive here. And I will note that you do get points for faster boss kills, but in general, I have enough points to where I can get up to 4 extra lives on this route without a problem, as long as I play okay.
Yeah, so if you're familiar with the genre, you tend to know that there's a difficulty increase about level 3, level 4, and Ikaruga is no exception.
It's my favorite chapter too.
So here we kind of see enemies start to... You see enemies' behavior is based, like, you know, they try to home in on you here. So here we're getting into some more tight spaces, and here's where the lasers pushing you does start to matter a little bit more. And you can't, like, not only does he have to worry about not getting shot, but colliding into the walls here is bad.
Yeah, I appreciate that, like, all the previous levels have been like, all right, here are incoming enemies. You get to see what they do, and then you interact with them. This is like, all right, you can see what the level ahead looks like, but you can't exactly tell the bullet patterns just yet. Good luck figuring out when you get there.
Yeah, this level, it kind of scales off of what the previous ones did. The first level's rather open. This level, or the second level, had sections that were rather condensed. Now this section is even more condensed and more full of enemies. Alrighty, so still maintaining chain here. This game kind of likes to group up its enemies in groups of 3, so maintaining that chain is a little easier than it sounds, but it definitely takes a lot of, like, memorizing your movements. Definitely the key skill to this level, even perhaps more than any of the ones thus far, is just really memorizing where and when things are going to be and when they fire, and then what color that's going to be shooting at you. Even
like
more so than everything
if you enjoy
else.
routing as a skill in your speedruns, this is a route-heavy game.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't think the routes have changed in this game too much for, like, top-level play in a very long time. This game's kind of... Honestly, this game is kind of iconic among shmups for the extent to which people have really, you know, maximized it.
Oh, I can.
So trying to clear up as much as the top as you can, and then, you know, get little bits and pieces of chains here in these interweaving with the black enemies, so he can get his combo, get like 6 there. Yeah, so he's still keeping up his chain for a good amount of lives here. Like, this game was, I remember some of the early days of YouTube, losing his combo, unfortunate. It's okay, though. For beat the game here. But yeah, back in the day, this game was, like, one of those really cool, like...
That's a little bad because I kind of want the energy for this mini-boss right here, so it should be okay still, as long as I do this properly.
Yeah, here we're seeing these electrical...
That was close, but I got it.
Nice.
Yeah, because the parts of the mini-boss are also colored, so you have to really manage the shots here as well.
To finish my thought, on YouTube, this game had, like, a lot of videos of, like, Japanese arcade players doing things like expert two controls, or like 2 ships, 1 player, like high score runs, and it's kind of the thing that, like, built this game up a little bit as, like, sort of this myth, like this game of myth of just, like, how skilled a person can get at a shmup. So.
Yeah, big shout outs to VTF, who did double play videos back in the day. They actually did not this game, but Ikaruga, but Radiant Silvergun for RTA in Japan last winter, and they are an absolute master at shmups and are still active in the community to this day.
So the key thing with this particular boss is that the boss starts to speed up when the sections around it die. So he needs to take out all of these, like, little bullet firing turrets on the side. But he's specifically leaving them with low HP because he doesn't want it to, like, start speeding up too quickly, and then eventually they also just, like, start firing lasers, which is just...
This is ugly. This is not how I want it to go. Got out of it at least. Oh, that was scary.
Well done.
Yeah, because I blew up 1 earlier, so there's 14 sections on that ring, and I usually want to destroy 1 at about 10 so that it speeds up in a good way. I blew up, like, the 4th one, so it got faster earlier than I wanted.
Got it. Yeah, you can see for that last quadrant, you were definitely needing to dive between the lasers and the remaining bullets.
Yeah, and that's the safe strat, too. Doing it the fast way is, like, that's not something I will risk.
Right, you just yeet yourself into the middle and hope for the best.
This is like the one chapter I won't do a lot of chaining on.
Okay.
So stage 4, kind of the gimmick to this stage is that we're relatively we're like stuck into one place, and then everything kind of moves around us. It's not like, you know, traveling like to a destination. You kind of see like this big, I don't know if I want to call it satellite or whatever.
Station, I guess.
Station is kind of a good way of putting it. But yeah, and here we saw a little bit with the boss, but you're gonna start seeing enemy fire get really small, which kind of starts to test your vision a little bit. So making sure to stay within the kind of the lanes and then move between the lanes at the right time. But this part is really tricky. And Zello really needs to be, because of how tight his movement is and how like precise some parts of this can be, he's really taking great care to only destroy enemies of the same color, so that the retaliatory fire that he gets hit by is not anything that he has to worry about, because there's already so much on the screen that he has to worry about.
Right, so we can, and so we can charge up and have the secondary fire available later.
Indeed. It's just this section is just so tight that like you don't want to add any more bullets to it than necessary. It's kind of like a section that really escalates when you try and do this on hard, which I believe like score attack people do generally run this on normal. At least it's what I was told.
Having that many more revenge bullets coming from everything else is just interminable. At that point, you have to stop attacking as many enemies.
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
I think
High score, like the highest scoring players of this game can continue through all the revenge bullets because they are just absolutely beasts at managing everything that comes at you. I'm not as good at that, unfortunately. I have a decent score, but it's still a ways off from the top players.
That's the kind of other thing. Like, there's a lot of people in chat saying, "Oh, you know, this is one of the hardest games I've ever played," and I totally understand that, especially if this was a game you played on the GameCube in its day. Like, this doesn't necessarily have the bullet density or the extremely difficult to decipher patterns of like a Moshihime-sama or a Dodonpachi. So it's not necessarily as bullet dense as some of those, even in its worst moments, but it's so deliberate because if you're also playing for score, you need to move in very specific patterns, and that's what makes Ikaruga at high levels so mesmerizing to watch.
Alright. I should be able to get a few chains here, but I try not to chain for too long on this section because this is a little bit dangerous when in a chaining situation.
Sure.
Because it switches up at about halfway through.
On the floor here.
Other thing too is that, like, well, this game does have a reputation for its high difficulty.
Okay.
You do eventually, if you just keep playing it, it will unlock infinite continues. So it's like, it is a game that you can, depending on your definition of beat, still be able to beat. Just, you know, through sheer
It wants you to see everything, and then challenges you to do it more proficiently.
Yeah, so there's some safety valves in there to allow you to beat the game. And I know some people will say like 1cc is the point at which you've really beaten the shmup, and I kind of understand that at like the challenge yourself kind of rationale, but I think getting a little too hardcore about that might be a little gatekeepy, and I am perfectly okay if you just say like, I want to get to the credits.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, the beginning of this is the tight part, so I'm going to focus here. I have to get inside the gate. That's the hard part here.
Yeah, so once he gets up to the gate, he needs to make sure that it's fully opened and that he can actually get in there. Well, once he does, he wants to stay and keep his hitbox inside the center here to avoid all the laser fire on the outside. Then eventually it's going to start trying to push him out with a laser, but that's also just going to give him a whole bunch of retaliatory laser missiles.
Okay, good.
A lot of good damage. Very, very,
Very well done.
Very clean.
And special shout out also to the GameCube controller for making such micro adjustments possible.
Oh, I'm actually playing on a SNES controller with an adapter.
Oh wow!
I
Okay.
was gonna say, I thought he was on like a Hori pad modded controller.
No, I have. This is the same controller I use for network transmission as well.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Wow.
the D-pad of the GameCube controller is kind of one of its weak spots. It is actually pretty decent for arcadey stick movement because it has like those notches. Like that's
Yeah,
really
honestly,
the thing
that's
that
what I
makes-
thought we were working with, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean the GameCube controller is really cool. Like with its joystick, it's one of the few controllers that has a joystick with like actual proper notches.
All right, this is
I-
the last
like-
chapter right here, so.
I know, like
Bring it
Monkey
on
Ball
home.
Runners. You know, speaking of
Exactly.
Sega
Yeah.
comes
games.
from. Yeah, we notch in at this angle and we wait till this number of milliseconds, and the rest of the level plays itself.
So here you're really kind of, I mean, first of all, we're seeing the classic shmup thing of move in very small increments to get around these enemies, but also kind of what you were mentioning earlier of like that rhythm game section of like just kind of memorizing, you know, this at this point in time is when the fire, like the spray of white's gonna come out. This one's where the spray of black is gonna come out.
All right, so we have 3 final boss phases and then a sequence afterwards. And even though I have a lot of lives, this is not free.
Yeah, so this level is called metempsychosis, which is a very cool sounding word, and what it effectively means is the transition from living to the afterlife. And it is very fitting because this level will try to kill you so much. He's trying to destroy the heads here from right to left. Just unfortunate death there.
Yeah, that's gonna throw off the timing of these. We can make this work, okay? Yeah,
Does want to try and keep a full spread for the next section.
There we go. Yeah, because this is the hardest phase for me out of the 3. You have to bait these worms in a very specific way.
Yeah, this is like the least automated section because the way these like worms like to follow
Yeah,
you.
they follow you.
Oh god.
And you don't want them to overlap too much because then they just create impassable terrain. So you kind of have to manipulate them in such a way that you can clear out the laser with one, and then that kind of creates some space with the other.
Yeah, I forgot to switch right there. This is really, really off the rails, so hopefully we can kill it here. Okay.
Nice.
Phase 3.
Yeah, this part's very timing based. You kind of hear like an audio cue, and then you spin and switch. So it just kind of comes about dodging all the fire here, and that's keeping your polarity switched.
It's like playing the end of
tempo
Felghana for you.
I understood that reference.
Limit break.
Okay, I at least got through that
Very
phase in one
nice.
turn.
Nice.
Very nice. Now we're on to Stone Like, the final true obstacle, and so time is going to be basically a minute after this starts. You'll see a timer on the screen. We do get a battle report. Generally, you want to try and go for S++. S+ is honestly not bad, and considering you took 2 deaths, like, it's pretty solid. So yeah, we get one final single minute here. There's no firing, you just have to get good at dodging everything. So,
Yeah, this is the Stone-like. This is actually the antagonist of Radiant Silvergun, and this game is a spiritual sequel to it, and kind of is a full sequel if you want to think of it as the time loop that started at the end of Radiant Silvergun. But we're going to finish it once and for all here.
so yeah, you kind of see the white fire moves a little faster than the black fire, so just kind of switching very quickly on the fly. Very timing heavy once again.
Kind of like trying to play polyrhythms. You've got 2 different sets of rhythms interacting with each other.
I've listened to enough Leprous to understand those.
Almost got through that without a death, but yeah, time's coming up. And time.
GG.
That is a successful 1cc.
Successful
And
1cc.
how
Bravo.
many lives left over?
Yeah, you actually do get 500,000 points for every extra life you have left over. So that's actually not. Yeah, 23 mil. That's
3 million.
That's not too far off my PB. Like my PB is 25 mil. But the ending here, we sacrifice ourselves to destroy the stone like once and for all. And unfortunately, the cutscenes and such are kind of. There's no text in the English version, the GameCube version, but you do get this lovely last scene with the birds flying away and wonderful music.
If you're wondering, what does Ikaruga mean? Well, it is the name for the, I believe it's called the Japanese grosbeak. It's just a species of bird. So, yep. It's like one of those many things that sounds cool and then you translate it and it's actually something kind of mundane, but it's a really neat little cutscene there. But yeah, this is a really cool game, so just being able to do the 1cc in a live setting like this is really quite awesome. So congrats, Ella.
Very
Thank
impressive.
you.
A treat to be able to see. Thank you
Yeah,
for showing that off for us.
Ikaruga is legitimately one of my favorite shmup, even though I only play it in spurts. I am using the same disc that I bought from a friend in high school in 2005, so thanks, Alex, for letting me have this.
Nice.
But this game is amazing. Treasure made some amazing games back in the day. They're really off the wall, and this is just such a treat. And like we mentioned during the run, this game has such a very active, high-scoring scene that has been active for the last 25 years it's been out. We already shouted out Mamachi for RT in Japan. Big shout-outs also to Juju Kenobi, who showcased this game at Speed-Ons last month, which GK, you commentated for in English.
Yeah, that one was for like a high score run. So getting a little something different this time.
Yep. So I'm just
I believe that run is also why he recruited me for this.
So we got our final results right here, just of final chapter scores and everything. We can just see my leaderboard real quick before I turn this off. So yeah, I had a third place score right there, which is pretty dang solid.
Very
all things
impressive.
considered. My goal is to eventually get to 30 mil before I put the game down, but I have other projects that I need to attend to, so we'll get back to that eventually.
Dang, you set all of those records today, huh?
Right?
Yeah, I love GameCube Clock.
That's a lot of practice runs.
Unfortunately,
It went so smoothly.
Unfortunately, I must run for work in a bit. So GKT, y'all have anything else y'all need to say?
Yeah, no, just thanks for having us. It's a good time. So
Yeah, thanks
I'm
for
actually
having
kinda
us.
Excited for the next game because I'm actually kind of a big fan of Team Ladybug stuff. So I know Drainus was kind of their first departure from that. So hope y'all are excited for that as well as I am.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
thank you so much to the both of you for being here to show off Ikaruga, and with the perfect segue from Ghost Kumo, I will say that if you enjoyed this shmup run and are looking for something else similar but just a little bit different, stay tuned for more shmup action here on Out of the Box. We'll be right back.